Next up, I guess, is my annual report. So I'm going to make it short because you've got a lot of things happening here that are more important. But this has been an eventful year for Metro. First of all, just the easy stuff, and you'll hear more details about this from Jason. The organization is in good shape. It continues to provide the kind of services you've come to expect of it. It's financially sound, and so all that is good. But, well, not a but also, Dottie, all of you, I guess, knew Dottie well. She was executive director for 15 years, really defined Metro the way it is today. And she finally, after those 15 years and after a very long, decades-long career in the library world, decided she wanted to retire. Well, she could still enjoy herself, as the saying goes. And so we had the unusual task of trying to find a replacement. It took more than a year. I can't tell you, we probably reached out to several hundred people in the library world and other parts, related worlds, if you will. Saw all kinds of candidates, and the board was working on this throughout. It took a lot of time and effort. And at the end result of this, we ended up, and this is a little bit of a surprise, I suppose, maybe to some of you, maybe not. We ended up selecting Jason. And now we're working through the various bureaucratic procedures that Albany imposes on us. But we're pleased. I mentioned to you before that Metro sees the future of libraries as being essential in this century, and the future of library services is extending beyond what we've already done to be a service that everybody in the information age is going to be using. It's not actually just information. I should point out we're also in the midst of the greatest explosion of new literature, although a lot of it's electronic. So there is a role for a leader with vision who can understand this world and can help you understand it and help the public gain for benefit. So we're very pleased about this, and over the next year you'll see a lot more of this. I want to, by the way, thank very much my fellow board members, because they all stand in, and I'd like them to introduce themselves instead of just say where they're from, just to give you an idea, because we have a number of them over here today. No, I want you to introduce, I want them to hear you. Thank you. As part of this, and there is another reason why I wanted them to stand, you all have to vote on the election of three of these folks to be members of the board again. And so the names that you'll see in your packet are Colleen Cuddy, Heike Cordish, and Patricia Skaroulis. I guess we have to do this formally. Do I hear a nomination from the floor for these folks? Okay. And a second? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Come on. Aye. Wake up. Any opposed? It's your last chance. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Welcome again to the board. And my final point before I turn this over to Jason so he can give you his report is the kind of, I guess the phrase is co-production. The way that modern organizations work is by involving the people who they are serving in the creation and delivery of the services that they used to offer all by themselves. And the same thing is true for Metro. So I really want to encourage you to be actively involved in this organization, to help give us suggestions and even help deliver new services that we can offer. This is your organization, not just the folks who work at it. So for that, and for all of your interest in Metro, I thank you very much. And now, Jason, it's up to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to wear two different hats here right now this afternoon. The first hat I'm going to wear is our Board Treasurer Hal Higginbotham's hat, who was unable to join us today. He was called away unexpectedly on business, and he's put together some prepared finance remarks that were on your agenda that I'd like to share with you, just to give you sort of a snapshot of where we are financially right now with Metro. As everyone attending today's meeting knows from personal experience, economic conditions for educational and cultural organizations like Metro and its member libraries were extremely difficult during the fiscal year that ended on June 30th. Many organizations, Metro included among them, had to grapple with the reality of constrained, often reduced revenue, while also needing to make painful reductions in expense budgets. Strong leadership and good management by Metro staff, however, guided the organization through these challenges, and the overall results for the year should be seen as positive. Although revenues during fiscal year 2011 declined by 3% over the prior year, Metro's membership held firm, and the organization was still able to dedicate 80% of its expense budget, approximately $1.7 million, to program services benefiting the membership, including $382,000 of direct grants that were awarded to members. The financial position at the close of the fiscal year showed a small surplus, as has been the case for each of the past several years. A further encouraging note, and the true tribute to the quality of Metro staff, our finance staff especially, is that the recently completed annual audit for fiscal year 2011 produced no exceptions or changes, and the management letter was issued without any comments. Another relatively bright point during the fiscal year was the continued recovery in the overall financial markets, and Metro's investment funds regained most of the value it had lost during the economic downturn. Those markets, however, remained exposed to significant volatility, as evidenced by the events since the beginning of the new fiscal year, and it seems that unlikely that the rapid growth will continue. Nonetheless, Metro is fortunate to have access to these resources, both as a hedge against emergencies and to support special initiatives that are related to our strategic plan. Although state funding for the current fiscal year that began on July 1st has again been somewhat reduced, the good news is that the state's financial position has allowed most grant funds to be paid already. As a result, the Metro staff have been able to move forward in confidence and plan activities for the year, and the prospects for the year's upcoming budget look good. So that is our finance report. I'd like to switch gears a little bit now and thank Norm. I suppose I should throw these prepared remarks out that did not include any mention of me being the new executive director at Metro, but I will continue with them anyway, and if you'll bear with me. So first of all, I'd like to thank you all for joining us this afternoon. Oh, that's interesting. So we closed that and it still stays up. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. I'd like to special thanks to our hosts, N.J. Wolf and FIT, State University of New York, for welcoming us in this, what I'm considering sort of like this M.C. Escher amphitheater. I'm pretty sure that all of these stairwells connect to each other somehow. So you could eventually just walk around this room. I wanted to especially thank N.J. Wolf and all the staff at FIT for helping us with today's events. We obviously have a lot of different needs, including the catering needs this afternoon for our reception, which I hope you'll join us for. I also really wanted to take a moment to recognize the outstanding efforts of Metro staff and the members of our Board of Trustees over this past year. It's starting to sound like a bit of a cliche in the library world, but this has been yet another challenging year for our libraries and also for Metro. And once again, we have worked together and have depended on the support of many of our industry colleagues to continue and expand Metro's role as a leading service provider and advocate for our library community. One of the most important measures of how we are doing here at Metro is our membership, and I am pleased to report that despite the economic challenges of the past year, many new libraries and information professionals recognize the value of joining with us. In the last year, we welcomed over 13 new member libraries and also welcomed over 70 new individual My Metro members. It's also not surprising to report that Metro's services in professional and career development were among the most popular services or offerings for our members this year. We worked very hard to expand and refine our programs and services to meet the growing demand. And this year, more than 2,000 library, archive, and museum professionals took part in our learning events. We were also able to attract many influential thought leaders in technology, digitization, management, and business to share their insights with our members. On the professional development side, this year we took more steps to position Metro as both a virtual and hands-on resource for our members who want to move ahead in their careers. In addition to learning programs that help library professionals expand their skills, we redesigned the Metro Job Bank and expanded our career development services to include resume reviews and interview skills training for members. This year, Metro also took several steps to expand opportunities for networking and shared learning for our members. We redesigned the website to include new opportunities for our members and other visitors to access and share advice and best practices recommendations. And I'm pleased to report that the new site has exceeded our expectations, and we've seen an over 300% increase in traffic in the first 6 months since we launched the new site. During the year, we also developed some new opportunities for librarians, archivists, museum professionals, and others to share information and problem-solving strategies with professionals in related fields who may be facing similar challenges. We continue to expand on our on-demand learning programs and resources, including our popular lecture series, which featured an introduction to digital humanities last November and a session on digital efficiency for informational professionals last spring. And we welcomed Jim Neal, Board of Trustees member to Metro earlier this month to discuss copyright issues. And we had many members join us in person, and now that video is also available online for people to watch at their convenience. I can assure you that we will continue to expand those on-demand and online learning resources at Metro in the years ahead. Excuse me. Metro also introduced a new phase of our digitization grants program this year to promote collaboration between Metro member institutions. And we're wrapping up the first cycle of those grants, and we're pleased to report that in its first year, this initiative supported 4 digitization projects representing collaborations between 8 different institutions. Throughout the last year, as we dedicated ourselves to meeting the needs of our members with critical programs and support services, we also spent a great deal of time thinking about the future of Metro and how our work can support the needs of our members in the future. As we all know, many factors, including the economy, changes in access to information, advances in technology, will all continue to shape the way libraries operate, and they'll continue to shape how Metro can support them. We are considering and planning many important steps to stay ahead of the curve in facing new challenges for our members. Expanding opportunities for our members to meet and share information is one example, and another example is advocacy. More than ever, our members need a voice in Albany, and Metro is planning to take an even more active role in representing the interests of our library community there. And at the same time, we're continuing to refine our offerings and many useful new learning programs and services for our members. As we move ahead, one thing will certainly not change. We will continue to need the input and guidance of our many members of our community. And so I hope you'll consider the many ways to continue and expand your involvement with us during this critical time. I know that together we can build an even brighter future for the library community in the region. I look forward to supporting and amplifying what I consider to be the consistently inspiring work that each of you all do in your day-to-day jobs. And I can assure you that Metro, too, has many great things planned in the years ahead. Thank you all for joining us again this afternoon.